Hello everybody, good night. And this is a recording of the last class since Duda requested. Here we go. So the last class was called Let's Connect. It's going to talk about the connectors and it's going to talk about how to connect and organize the sentences that you create. Let's go with the first slide. So, first thing, you have to remember the connectors, okay? Do you remember the connectors? Do you remember these words? If you study with me, like you, Duda, and the others, you of course remember these words here. If you do not, please find a dictionary or try to see the notes of a past class or just type on internet connectors of consequence, opposition, and addition. Now the connectors, as you know, like the word says, connects ideas. Okay, so they are used to connect sentences. In Portuguese, you have a lots of connectors like apesar, mas, também, talvez. Well, you know, you have many. And in English, you have many too as well. So let's go with the consequence. Now, what is a connector of consequence? It's when from a sentence to another, you want to describe the difference between a reason and a result. For example, I love pizza because I'm Italian. Of course, right? So, you know, these other words are synonymous of because. So the idea is the same. All of these words have an idea of consequence. The only difference is the position of the sentence, for example. Remember that last sentence I gave it to you. I love pizza because I'm Italian. Now let's use due to. Due to the traditions, I love pizza because I'm Italian. Or due to the fact that I'm Italian, I love pizza. I'm going to repeat. Due to the fact that I'm Italian, I love pizza. So see, it's the same idea. The fact that I'm Italian, it's a consequence that I love pizza. It's amazing. Let's go. Opposition. Opposition is when you have two things that are opposite, okay? But, however, although, all of them gives an idea of opposition. Making an example with pizza, which is my standard. I love pizza, but it's very fatty. Yeah, pizza is super caloric. I can use however, always using pizza. Pizza is caloric, however, I have a pizza every weekend, which is not true here in Brazil because it's very expensive, but in Italy it's just 4 euros. See? Give an idea of position. Pizza is very caloric, so if something is caloric, technically it's bad. However, I eat one every weekend. So you give an opposition. Something caloric, you should avoid it. Although, same idea, but do you remember that although goes at the beginning of the sentence? For example, although is very caloric, I have a pizza every weekend. Okay? And addition, addition is like and, something that you want to add to a subject. For example, always using pizza. I love pizza. Furthermore, it's one of the cheapest food in Italy. You know, I love pizza and I want to add something to it. I want to say that pizza is super cheap in Italy. So I use furthermore is the cheapest food in Italy. The cheapest is the less expensive. I can use moreover instead of furthermore. Yes, you can. I love pizza. Moreover is the cheapest food in Italy. So it's the same idea. As well as it's like again an addition. I need to change the words. I can use the other example. Yes, I can. I love pizza as well as his very low cost price. You know, I love pizza as well as its very low cost price. So it's just a matter of changing the words, but the idea is the same. So they are all synonymous. Remember the position also now of the sentences, because we said that we use the connectors when you have to connect sentences. Here you go. This is the formula. You know, it's very difficult for Brazilians and also for Italians, every Latino language, to avoid translation. So we say a sentence in Portuguese, for example, eu sonho todos os dias na minha cama. I invent. And you start to say, I dream every day in my bed. Okay, that makes sense. People understand you. It's okay, but the position is wrong. We should have said, I dream in my bed every day. That is the correct position. This is an example because in Portuguese you invert the place and the time. And this is super useful when you make a question. What do you mean a question? When you make a questions in English which are different from Portuguese. For example, if you want to say, você joga futebol? You start, you play football. People understand you because of the voice. But the correct question is, do you play football? Do you play football? Now this is do is an auxiliary verb and goes before the subject. But let's see in details what I'm talking about. There is a question. What will you study? You see, I put the words distant to each other because I want to show that there is a division, which is this. The WH word in the formula, when you make a question or a sentence, it's always the first letter. So what, where, who, how, or whatsoever, they don't go after the U or before the U, or before the study or after the study. They go here, at the beginning of the formula. After this, use the auxiliary verb. Will, do, does, did, depend on the kind of tense you want to use. This is the future. If I want to use the past, I use did. The subject, always before the action and after the auxiliary. The action after the subject. And then we have the object, the place and the time. Let's make other examples and you will understand that I never change the position of the words. Here, when did you have class? See, I put class as an object. Before we didn't have it, but now we have. And the auxiliary changed, but you, same. See? The position is the same. Now is in the past, and this is the future. Look here. Where do you have class? Same idea. I just changed the WH word. Now here I use the time. Now I use the place. Two words in Português. Essa aqui para você se entender que você não precisa traduzir, você tem que interpretar. Olha como é a interpretação. When, você está perguntando um tempo. Esse tempo é de uma ação passada. Que é o protagonista da sentença? É você. É ação. É ter. O quê? Aula. Então, tu teve aula quando? Essa é uma interpretação. Tu teve aula quando? Ou fala assim. Ou você, quando é que teve aula? Essa também é uma interpretação perfeita. Então, esse aqui é feito para vocês parar de traduzir e começar a interpretar. E aqui, eu só mudei essa palavra, essa aqui. Just when virou where. Aqui estou perguntando o lugar. Um lugar de quê? De onde você faz uma ação, present simple. Uma ação com frequência ou rotina. Um fato. E quem é que é o protagonista dessa ação? Você. E qual é essa ação? Ter aula. Então, onde é que tu tem aula? Estão vendo como está fácil? Onde é que você faz aula? Também é possível. Ok? Let's go back to English. How are you having class? Present continuous, see? Who is your teacher? I change it. Now I'm talking about a person. Where will you have class at the university on Friday night? See? Every single word has the correct position in the right column. I don't put this here. I don't put this here. Okay? Everything is the same column. E quando você aprende isso, você vai praticamente aprender a escrever, a falar em inglês fluente. Você monta sua frase, coloca o connector, monta outra frase, outro connector, etc, etc, etc. Just here, future, past, present, present verb to be. This was another example. New connectors, time. Now what is this? I taught you connectors, you know, like this, consequence of position addition, and now we have connectors of time. Okay. Now, of course, there are many other connectors, but oh, sorry, I got distracted. But there are many others, but these are some that I want to teach you. Quite very common. When, after, before, since, as soon as, and while. Okay? Good? Perfect. So, let's go some examples. We will go back to school when the virus disappears. So, when gives an idea of a specific time. I have a shower after I have breakfast. This is typical Italian. I don't know you in Brazil, but in Italy we have breakfast before to have a shower. I advise the students 10 minutes before I start a class. Yeah, I always do that with you. I play video games since I was 12. See, since gives an idea of a moment in the past until today. Okay? We will have a big party as soon as possible. Now, sometimes you see in a message ASAP. Okay? Now, this ASAP, okay, it means as soon as possible. It's very common in messages, also in movies, like the military war movies, you hear ASAP. ASAP means as soon as possible. What is as soon as possible? At the first opportunity. At the first opportunity, let's have a big party. Okay? The teacher is giving class while you're using WhatsApp. Now this while, and I know that you're doing that, it means at the same time. Two things are happening. For example, I am explaining you the connectors while you are listening to me. Okay? Here we go. And now let's do an activity. Try to complete the sentences the way you want. Open your mind. Let's try to use these connectors and complete the sentences. Now, I'm going to make some examples, okay? And then you're going to continue by yourself. I won't listen your voice, but you can practice with you, okay, with yourself. An example here. I was working in Bancarios at night when, okay, a friend of mine asked me to go with him by car. It's very complicated. Other example. I was working in Bancarios at night after I spent the day at the beach. Possible. Why not? Other example. She took a shower before she went to work. Makes sense, right? Oh, let's go another. She goes to work every day in the morning. Okay, she goes to work every day in the morning. While I'm inventing, his boyfriend sleeps at home and does nothing. It's quite interesting. So, as you can see, there are many sentences. Now I'm gonna scroll them. You put pause with the space bar, okay, if you need, and then you practice with yourself. Let's start with this. The teacher was living in Italy. Pause. Larissa was dancing at PH. Pause. Severino will organize a huge party in Iowa. Pause. Valerie has a boyfriend. Pause. We're having English class. Pause. I always watch Netflix. Pause. I never take a shower. Pause. I was drinking Caetero wine. Pause. We need to party. Pause. I come back to work. Pause. Okay, here we go. This is a small resume of all the connectors. Okay, of course there are many other, but I would like you to practice them, and if you have any doubts, please enter in contact with me. Okay, so this was a resume of the last class. Very nice. Thank you for watching the video. I hope it's not gonna be boring, and see you next time.